You've had clear vision all your life, but suddenly one day you pick up a menu card and it's difficult to read the print.
It doesn't matter if you're an airline pilot or if you're a nanny and cleaning. Everyone needs their eyes for their work. The eye was not designed to live past 40.
People are all very mentally prepared already to wear reading glasses after 40. There's this mindset that it's completely normal.
Eyeglasses are like a crutch. People who do not know that there is a solution adapt to it and manage to live with it. But it's a nuisance. Being presbyopic is very difficult because without glasses, you can't see anything nearby.
You can suffer in the dark with your reading glasses, or you can have a 10-minute procedure that heals in 3 hours and you're reading the menu that night without glasses.
Dr. Ganesh, you have undergone PRESBYOND and Professor Dan has performed it for you.
Immediately after the procedure, I was able to read the smallest print. So it was life-changing.
But the fact is, 2025, really, we can keep people out of glasses and contact lenses from 18 until the grave.
And then sometimes patients come in and say, oh, I saw this, I saw a podcast on this, or I saw this on YouTube. This is the latest technology which uses AI.
Mm-hmm.
No. Is it a proven technology? Has it been around? What are the results?
You've had clear vision all your life, but suddenly one day you pick up a menu card and it's difficult to read the print. You have to hold your phone at arm's length just to read the letters. This isn't a rare problem. Everybody faces it after the age of 40, and it's called presbyopia. Now, today, we have a very special episode of this podcast to discuss vision restoration after the age of 40. Hello, I'm Dr. Supriya Sriganesh from Nethradhama Eye Hospital, and today I'm joined by two of the most respected refractive surgeons worldwide, Dr. Professor Dan Reinstein and Professor Sriganesh, who will be joining me on this episode to discuss everything we need to know about presbyopia correction and vision restoration after the age of 40. Not only have these two renowned surgeons treated thousands of patients for presbyopia, they've undergone the treatment themselves. So, Professor Dan, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us something about what your patients tell you when they come to you? What are some of the most memorable things you hear in your OPD?
You know, actually, there's nobody who's more special than anybody else, to be honest. I'll give you an example. I have about 10 or 12 years ago, I had an airline pilot come to me who was short-sighted, so wore glasses and contact lenses, but then started to have the problem with near vision, which of course everyone gets around the age of 40. And so the problem is that she is in an airplane cockpit, and these were not designed by presbyopic engineers. And we know that because there are actually 9 different distances that a pilot has to see and be able to function at, not to mention out the window, in the fog, in the rain, in the dark. So it's a real challenge, right? And for these patients, these pilots, they need about 3 pairs of glasses to be able to do all of the tasks. And clearly, it's not really safe in that environment sometimes to have to be changing glasses. So she came in because she'd heard that there was now a treatment that did not involve going inside the eye and taking the natural lens out. And she was actually a doctor herself. So she trained as a medical doctor and then trained as a pilot, but continued practicing medicine as an aeromedical examiner. So she has 2 weeks a month in each. When I did her procedure, she came back basically once we'd reinstated her for flight, saying that she could see absolutely everything with high quality, high definition, high contrast anywhere, completely, 100% independent of spectacles. Not only that, she was also, her reinstatement was made without a restriction on her license, which was lucky because there are certain parameters that airline pilots have to pass to do with both eyes together. Anyway, so once this started, obviously she's a British Airways pilot. She told someone else, and then we ended up within a short period of time with at least with more than 20 pilots who had come through to have this corrected. So this is something where this is not just convenience. Oh, I want to see what's on my phone. I left my glasses upstairs. No. This is potentially safety related, right? You've got 300 people behind you, and you got to be able to see. So that's extremely satisfying to know that there is a treatment that can be good enough or even better than glasses for people in such critical visual conditions. Now, having said that, we had a nanny looking after our kids for 17 years. We live in London. She's from Chile, from South America. I grew up in Mexico, so we had this connection with Latin America, and the kids were learning Spanish. Anyhow, one day I see her with reading glasses. And I said, Mireya, what's going on here? And she's like, well, I can't see the dust. So you see, it doesn't matter if you're an airline pilot or if you're a nanny and cleaning. Everyone needs their eyes for their work and for their daily activities. So the fact that we now have a way of correcting aging eyes, reading vision, without going inside the eye, with much higher safety than going inside the eye, and more accuracy, and less side effects, and if it changes over time, you can adjust it. We've really reached a point in modern medicine that is going to affect every single human being on the planet, and that is being able to get people out of the need for reading correction.
So you're talking about functional vision that everyone needs. Now, Dr. Ganesh, you have undergone PRESBYOND, and Professor Dan has performed it for you.
10 years.
So 10 years ago.
Under special circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, you are still reading without glasses perfectly. And you yourself perform PRESBYOND and, many other complex eye surgeries, microsurgery. You need very sharp vision for near. What were your problems which you faced, and what led you to decide to get this done?
This was about 12, 13 years ago, 15 years ago, when I started having difficulty in reading small print. Until the age of, say, 43, I was able to manage. And then I was having difficulty reading small print, so I started wearing reading glasses. And I used to wear those small readers because my distance vision was perfect. So I just needed reading glasses. I used to keep those readers in my pocket and use them to read small print. But with time, what happened is the distance vision also started becoming blurred. I developed a little bit of far sight. So both distance vision and near vision was affected. And the small reading glasses were no longer helpful. So I had to go in for progressive glasses. So progressive glasses, I had to wear them all the time. And the problem with progressives is it distorts the external world. When you move your head, objects shift. When you're climbing downstairs, it's so difficult. You may miss a step, you may trip. So these were the problems I started facing. And without glasses, I was not able to see. When I went to dinner, I couldn't read the menu in low light. I had to ask somebody to kind of order for me. And in surgery, you need good vision for distance if you're using the microscope. And suddenly, if you want to check a patient's scan or details, then they bring in some papers and you're not able to see it. So wearing glasses and doing surgery is a problem because the glasses fog. And again, there is some amount of distortion. You don't have clear vision. And I'm a high volume surgeon. I do 30, 40 surgeries a day. Microsurgery, which needs high degree of precision. And I am a refractive surgeon. So a lot of my patients, when I used to advise them that, okay, you can undergo refractive surgery for getting rid of your glasses, they used to say, but doctor, you're wearing glasses. I mean, I used to say that it's for presbyopia, that is after 40 years for reading glasses. But again, it was not very convincing because a doctor who is doing surgery to get rid of glasses, himself wearing glasses. So these were all the circumstances when I decided, okay, I need to look for a solution. I need to get rid of my glasses so that I can see well for distance and near, and something that does not interfere with my work and my lifestyle. And that's when I did a lot of research and then checked the various modalities for correction of this reading power after 40. And then, after considering everything, I finally decided on PRESBYOND. This is a special laser surgery for correcting the near vision for people after 40 years. And 10 years ago, Professor Dan Reinstein, I invited him to a conference, and he did live surgery. And when I called him, I told him, I want you to do surgery. And then he said, who's the patient? I said, I'm the patient. And so I had so much of confidence in this procedure that I decided to get it done as a demo with about 500 doctors watching. And the video is there on YouTube. So it was great. And from day one, in fact, the very next day I was operating. Again, I was demonstrating a complex cataract surgery. And immediately after the procedure, I was able to read the smallest print. So it was life changing for me. And this is something that if I had to have it done again, definitely 100% I would do it because it changes everything. And so many of my activities, I like riding motorcycles. So riding motorcycles with glasses is terrible, especially in the rain and at night because it fogs up. You cannot see the road. You can't, and there's a lot of danger if you're not able to see well, if you can't see the road, if you can't see obstacles. So that's also a problem. And a lot of my colleagues who are motorcyclists themselves have come and got it done. And they say it's something that has changed my life. It's so much safer now. I can drive in the rain. I can ride at night. And it's so much more comfortable.
That's amazing to hear from the two of you. There is a mindset when it comes to reading glasses. People are all very mentally prepared already to wear reading glasses after 40. There's this mindset that it's completely normal and that, anyway, after 40, everyone's going to get reading glasses. It's going to happen to you eventually anyway. It's age related, happens to everyone. It's okay. Get a new pair of fancy glasses. How would you respond to this, or how would you think about changing this mindset? Is it necessary to change it? Do you think that people should look at it from a different lens?
Look, what does normal mean? Normal means it happens biologically to everyone. So it is normal. But there's a difference between normal and inconvenient. And the point here is that once you're let's go back 20 million years. Okay, let's go back. Phylogenetically, the eye was designed to work for distance and near until about the age of 40. That's because until about 200 or 300 years ago, very few people lived older than 40. You got one pneumonia and you're dead. So the eye was not designed to live past 40. So the fact that we lose our ability to zoom up close is just that the eye hasn't caught up. We can wait another 20 million years. Maybe the eye will work later. But in the meantime, what we know is that people will put one pair of glasses in every room in the house, one pair of glasses in the car, one in their purse, one in their jacket. And the fact is, and the thing that I hear the most from people is the amount of efficiency it makes in their life, because there's a difference between wanting to do something, going for your glasses and putting them on and doing it, and just wanting to do something and just doing it. And so you're removing a step out of every single thing you might want to do up close. And it's not just reading. I mean, it's how much salt you're putting on your food. You can't see up close anymore. And so it is, in a way, it's a bit of a disability that you could say is compensated for by a prosthetic, which is magnifying glasses. And that's 800-year-old technology. And we now have something that in 10 minutes, you don't need that. So, I mean, you can suffer in the dark with your reading glasses, or you can have a 10-minute procedure that heals in 3 hours and you're reading the menu that night without glasses. It's pretty simple, actually.
Do you believe it's a crutch?
Yes, eyeglasses are like a crutch. People who do not know that there is a solution adapt to it and manage to live with it, but it's a nuisance. Being presbyopic is very difficult because without glasses, you can't see anything nearby. And you have to keep reaching out for your glasses. That's why people have so many pairs, one in their office, one in their home, one in their car. And many times it can be embarrassing if you don't have your glasses and you have to read something, like the menu in a restaurant when you're with guests. Recently, I was on a flight back from Germany, and we were just about to land, and the airline staff were handing out custom forms. And there's this middle-aged lady sitting next to me, and she couldn't read what was on the form. And she was struggling because the light again is not that good, and her readers were in her carry-on. And then so she asked me, "Can you see what this is?" And I was able to read it clearly. And then she was surprised and said, "How come you look older than me, but you're able to read?" That told her about Presbyon. Did you know that you can get rid of your reading glasses? So again, many people who don't know about this technology, who don't know that a 10-minute procedure can help them get rid of their reading glasses and they can function normally. So this is something which can be life-changing. There was another patient of mine who came in, and she had stopped wearing makeup because she was hyperopic, that is farsighted, and with reading glasses. And how do you put on makeup with your glasses on? You can't put on eye makeup with your glasses on. So this is something that was her problem. And then I told her that, okay, this is a fix. And after Presbyon, she said, I look totally different because now I'm able to put eye makeup. I look more beautiful when I look at myself in the mirror.
The confidence.
The confidence
right?
that it gives you, yes.
In terms, I just had a message from a plastic surgeon who underwent Presbyon. He was very long-sighted. He was in his mid-50s. So actually exactly the sort of patient that the vast majority of eye surgeons would just look in and say, oh, you have a little bit of cataract, which he didn't, and then say, you have a lens replacement and put a multifocal lens in your eye. He actually accessed Presbyon, and the message I caught was that so he's a breast reconstruction expert, and he said that it has shaved 10 minutes for every hour of surgery that he does. So if he's operating on 6 patients, he saves an hour because his functionality is better. He can look up, he can look down. Everything is like that. I have another patient who's a bariatric surgeon who operates, with keyhole surgery. They have a screen up there. They have, the trocars, all the carbon dioxide in the abdomen, and they're looking at the screen and they're operating like this, but then they have to suture the wound here. And he said it was a real inconvenience. He came from Switzerland to London because he'd heard about the fact that you can now do this without lens replacement. So you're right. Awareness is difficult because, well, patients don't go to medical school, so why would they know? Most optometrists don't know about it. Well, they're not eye surgeons. And most surgeons who do lens replacement don't want to know about it because they don't do laser eye surgery, most cataract surgeons. And therefore, it's a procedure that they can offer as lens replacement. So in terms of, for a patient, it's pretty tricky, you trust the doctor, but they're not necessarily going to give you all the options. And so I'm speaking to the god of cataract surgery here, but we perform cataract surgery at our clinic in London. We just don't take out clear lenses because we have something better. But I'm surrounded by people who will. And so this is something which It's very hard to change this kind of thing through the medical community because doctors have their own preferences, and it's attached to their jobs and their expertise and the availability of their own equipment. But if patients knew that you could have a procedure that does not involve going inside the eye, that heals in a couple of hours, that's really accurate and gives independence from spectacles to almost 100% of patients, no one would opt for lens surgery until they had a cataract. And so this is the balance that we're in right now. We're at a stage where the public needs to be more aware that there are alternatives so that they can actually, in an informed way, make a choice for themselves. Now, those of us who do lens surgery and laser presbyond in our clinics don't take out clear lenses, and that's worldwide. But we're in a minority. And so, the voice, that's why we're recording this video.
So let's rewind quickly. We've been talking about reading glasses that you need after 40. Why does our natural lens stop working as well after this age? What is presbyopia?
So, when an eye is perfect and doesn't require any glasses for distance, then far objects are perfectly in focus in the eye. But as we know from any camera, if you are focused at distance and then you point the camera at something near, you have to change the focus. Well, the eye, the lens inside, there's a lens inside the eye. And this lens has the ability to change focus. The thing is that the mechanism for changing the focus decreases as we age. So a baby can focus at this distance. It needs to see the nipple. As the baby gets older, that distance increases. Now, it increases very slowly. So if you take a 10-year-old, a 10-year-old would not be able to focus there, but they could focus there. And then a 20-year-old there, and a 30-year-old there, and a 40-year-old there, and a 45-year-old is there. So by the time you get into your 40s, the nearest point that you can focus to is now as long as your arm. So that loss of function is not sudden. But people say, oh, I suddenly needed reading glasses. Yes, that's because you suddenly reached the length of your arm. That's actually what it is.
That's a great explanation. I think that makes it so simple that the ability of the internal lens to focus keeps reducing as we age. And after a point, we feel it more. After 40, it's more inconvenient. Now, in very, very simple words, can you explain the solution, PRESBYOND, as the solution that we're talking about today and the one that you've undergone and you perform?
I underwent today.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Sorry.
Hey, leave me out here.
So, PRESBYOND is a laser correction for eyes that have lost their focusing ability for near. So it can be done even if you're wearing glasses for distance. If you're short-sighted or long-sighted and develop this reading power, then we can correct both the short sight or the long sight along with the reading power. And if you're ametropic, that means if you've never worn glasses throughout your life and after 40 you require reading glasses, then also this procedure can be done. It is a surface procedure. That means we do not have to open and get into the eye. And we are not going to put any lens or implant inside the eye. The surface of the eye is gently reshaped with a laser to correct the power. And this is a solution where you can see both for distance and near. How it works is we all have a dominant eye and a non-dominant eye, just like we have a dominant hand and a non-dominant hand. So with the dominant hand, we do most of our finer activities like writing or something like that. So similarly, with the dominant eye, we kind of use it more to focus for distance, naturally. And so with this procedure, we kind of correct the focus for distance to intermediate in your dominant eye, and in your non-dominant eye from intermediate to near. So with both eyes open, you have a full range of vision from distance to near. It's called blended vision, and it works perfectly. There is a period of what we call neuroadaptation when you're kind of getting used to this, which may take about up to 3 months, but most patients are very comfortable day one. Like I was comfortable day one, but generally this is how it works. And it is a lifestyle solution. It is a very safe procedure. It's done on the surface of the eye. It's a 10-minute procedure. We just put drops into it. There are no injections or we don't patch the eye. And immediately after the procedure, most patients are able to read and see well, and they can get back to their normal activities in 24 to 48 hours. So it is a lifestyle procedure to reduce your dependence on glasses. Occasionally, a patient may require kind of glasses for specific activities in the immediate post-op period. If they're driving at night when it's raining, to kind of make it a little sharper. But over a period of time, say 2 or 3 months, then you can kind of get rid of that. That's a very small percentage of patients, but most of them actually don't need glasses from day one, and they're able to see very well for distance and for near.
So basically, what you're saying is that it is essentially LASIK,
Yes.
right? To get rid of your need for reading glasses and your distance
Yes.
glasses. And you can see clearly without glasses after a surface reshaping of the cornea.
Yeah.
Now, there are other procedures that surgeons suggest for people after the age of 40 who may not have a cataract. Can you tell us why this is done and what exactly is the difference between PRESBYOND and a lens exchange or a
Right.
what we typically do for cataract surgery?
Yeah. Well, let's just back up here. And what is a cataract? Cataract is the lens that's inside the eye getting dirty. And so you can't see through it because it's dirty. It's a dirty window. So in cataract surgery, we make an incision and go inside the eye, and we remove the dirty window, and then we take a clean plastic lens and put it inside the eye to replace the dirty window. So we take the dirty window out, we'll put a clean window in. That's the idea. Now, in cataract surgery, you've got someone who cannot see even with glasses. The window is dirty. But in refractive lens replacement or permanent lens replacement, cataract surgeons are using exactly the same technique and hand movements to remove a lens that is not a cataract, a lens that is clear, and then replace it with a plastic lens, but a plastic lens that's essentially a bifocal or a trifocal. So it has 3 distances or 2 distances. Bifocals inside the eye or trifocals inside the eye work very well, but they are only focused at specific distances. So there isn't really great vision in between those distances. And also, because you're taking all of the light that's going into the eye and splitting it between near, intermediate, and distance, you don't have all of the light at any distance, which means, for example, that if you have a multifocal trifocal in your eye with only about 25 or 30% of the light being used for near, that means in a restaurant, it's as if they turn the lights right down. You can't read without glasses. Whereas PRESBYOND, on the surface of the eye, we're leaving the natural lens intact. And when I was explaining that the focusing distance increases with age, and then when you're 45, it's not long enough for your arm, there still is focusing power until we're about 60. So when you do PRESBYOND on the cornea, the watch glass, the outside of the eye, you leave that power that is still left intact. So it's actually being used to zoom between all the distances. So with this PRESBYOND procedure, it's not only obviously less invasive because it's on the outside of the eye, but it also gives you much more visual freedom and doesn't compromise contrast, meaning, gray on gray or dim lighting vision. Why is it that so many lens replacements are done in people without a cataract? So the answer is because it's because the patients aren't being told all the alternatives. I really don't think there's a way that you could take someone who doesn't have a cataract and has the ability to have LASIK and give them a choice of lens surgery versus LASIK and have them choose lens. I mean, why would you do that? So what that tells you is that people aren't being given all the choices. I mean, I'm just inferring here. It's hard to understand why someone would want a surgery inside the eye when the surgery outside of the eye would do the trick.
So, going back to what you said about the internal lens's ability to focus, and that's why that keeps reducing, and that's why we need reading glasses. If I'm a patient who now requires reading glasses, the lens inside my eye is still clear, it's still functional, and in today's day, we do not have an internal plastic lens like you spoke about, the lens that goes inside the eye. We don't have the technology today, that's comparable to our God-given lens inside the eye naturally. So if that lens still has some focusing power, I would not want to take it out and make it, completely artificial. I would keep it inside my eye for as long as possible, allow it to function until it can, and have the correction on the cornea.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Outside
right?
of the eye.
Outside.
And there are a number of myths that are out there about lens surgery being better than corneal surgery in the absence of cataract. One of them is you won't get a cataract. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You can have your vision corrected now and you won't get a cataract in the future. One operation. Yeah, okay. The fact is that there really is no part of the body that stays the same forever. So the chances are that whatever result you get with your lens replacement surgery, it will change over the 5, 10, 12 years, 15 years time. And then how would you adjust it back? By laser. So why not start with laser would be the set. Well, if you have laser, then you can't use a multifocal lens later. So you'll be compromised for your reading vision. Well, that's not true. It's actually the opposite. If you have PRESBYOND now, if you get a cataract, then you can have a high quality 100% transmission lens put in the eye and still have the reading. Why? Because PRESBYOND works by stretching the depth of focus. And so you have that depth of focus put into the cornea, and now you can use a non-light splitting lens inside the eye, which has better visual quality. So actually, it's better to have PRESBYOND now if you don't have cataract, and better later if you get a cataract, because you can have a higher quality intraocular lens. By the way, the kind of lens, when I talk about higher quality lens, that is covered by insurance, that is offered in National Health Service systems like in the UK, elsewhere, that ordinary lens, that's called the other ones are called premium lenses. These ordinary lenses are actually, they have better quality vision. It's just that you can't see multiple distances through them. But you can use that lens after PRESBYOND. So it's better now and it's better then. And in terms of safety, and far be it for me to say this in front of Dr. Ganesh, but the older the eye, the safer the lens surgery. Younger eyes are more likely to have complications, not related to the surgeon, related to the fact that the eye is younger and the structures are more rigid. And, we can go into details, but lens surgery gets safer the older you are.
So, what the two of you are saying sounds amazing because both of you have undergone the procedure yourself. And let's just say I'm convinced. I'm someone who wants to get rid of my reading glasses. I come to the clinic and ask for my options. What are my options? What do you typically tell your patients about options and what do you recommend?
See, we always have to do a thorough examination and we do some tests. One is the scan of the surface of the eye, what we call topography, and tomography to check whether this patient is suitable for a laser correction. And then there are other series of tests to see whether they are a suitable candidate. We also have to check if their lenses are clear. Now, if their natural lenses are clear, then definitely the solution, and the corneas are normal, then definitely the solution is a laser based solution like PRESBYOND, because you don't want to enter the eye, you don't want to replace a lens that is working well, the God given lens. If there is an opacity in the lens, in the normal lens, crystalline lens, and the patient is not improving in vision even with glasses, that means he has a cataract, and that cataract needs to be replaced with an intraocular lens. So these are the kind of options, but after the test. Now, in a younger patient over 40 years, even up till 60, 65, 70 years, if they have a clear natural lens, then ideally I do not like to go in and remove this lens because it's still functioning and there are a lot of positives in keeping that lens in there and not entering the eye, trying to remove that lens and replacing it with an artificial lens. I would rather gently reshape the cornea with a laser, which is just a 10-minute painless procedure and is very accurate. Most patients, I would say 98, 99% chance of having 20/20 or better vision. With a lens inside the eye, the chances are more like 85 to 87%. So the safety, the accuracy is better. The time taken is less. The restrictions are less. The patient can go back immediately to their work the next day or within 48 hours. And the quality of vision is very good. The quality of night vision is good. They can drive. They're able to see well. The color contrast is natural. So these are all the benefits of doing the correction on the surface. So this is called PRESBYOND. It's like a 10-minute procedure. You walk into the clinic. If you're suitable, then do the procedure. You go back home the same day. We just put drops into it. And most patients are able to read immediately after the procedure.
Yeah.
This is your preferred technique?
Well, the way you have to decide to have an elective procedure, it's not an appendectomy. You're not going to die if you don't have your vision corrected. But you're electing to have a procedure. Surely, safety is first. The chances of it getting a perfect result is second, not first. And the visual quality that you have and whether it's adjustable. And actually, whether it's reversible, because if by any chance you don't like it, can it be reversed? Also, what if there is a complication? All surgery has a small risk of complications. Can you fix it? And when you look at all of those factors, staying on the surface of the eye with LASIK wins on all 5 points compared to making a hole in the eye, extracting the lens that's inside the eye and putting a plastic synthetic lens into the eye. Now, it's not easy for lay people to understand the difference between what I've just said, but I think it's kind of obvious that staying outside of the eye is safer than going inside of the eye. I think that's pretty obvious. So really, when you're considering whether you want to get rid of reading glasses or bifocals, the question really is, are you going to go to a surgeon that's going to have the option of offering you the safest, most accurate, least side effect, adjustable and reversible procedure, or just lens surgery, which it works great. And there's lots of people who are happy with that. But it's not as safe. It has more side effects. It's less likely to get 20. We're talking about two things that work well, but one that is, if you have the choice. I mean, I was 53 when I thought, okay, I can't see as well as I used to. And I didn't even buy a pair of glasses. I literally went straight from thinking, gosh, I don't see very well, to surgery, direct. I did not buy a pair of glasses. Now, that is the way it should be, because the technology that we have now, both with LASIK and SMILE and surgery with lenses inside the eye, is so sophisticated that, and the risks are so low, that it doesn't make sense to be inconvenienced by the prosthetics. You hear, one of the excuses that people say, but I like my glasses. I hear that. I just look at, I say, really? And then they go, no, I really do. And I have lots of different pairs. I have the green ones. I have the red ones. It's like, well, you can just change the glass to plain glass, but you don't have to be dependent on glasses and walk around blurred. You can still wear the fashion item.
I've heard people talk about the new Meta glasses and say that, glasses are getting so fancy now.
You have Meta glasses.
I have Meta glasses.
I saw yours. I bought some for myself. But I don't need power in my Meta glasses. I just put them on.
Yeah.
I bought them off the shelf.
You're not dependent on them.
No. Vision correction is at a stage now. We're not where we were 30 years ago. We are at a stage where it is so safe that people who perform the surgery don't even hesitate to have it done on their own eyes.
Yeah.
And let me say that there are far more vision correction surgeons who have had LASIK than have had clear lens exchange. That is a fact. That's been studied.
Absolutely.
So, go buy some things like that. Just let's think in those terms. There are surgeons who will do LASIK but are still wearing glasses. And that's a whole other discussion, because maybe they don't have the access to PRESBYOND. Maybe they're judging the safety of laser eye surgery according to their own safety when they perform it, and it's not sufficient for them. Maybe I have a low standard and I'm a big risk taker and I'm a terrible surgeon. I decided to have it on my own eyes. It's all possible. The fact is, 2025, really, we can keep people out of glasses from 18, out of glasses and contact lenses from 18 until the grave. One way or other.
That brings me to the question. As a patient, what questions should I ask my surgeon? How do I choose my surgeon? Because this is one of the most important decisions I'm going to make. I don't know that I'm going to be offered all the options, like you said. So, as someone who should be aware, what are the right questions to ask?
Basically, while selecting a surgeon, you have to see whether they're able to offer all the options and how long they've been doing it, what is the experience, what are their results. You can even look up published literature, because we have, the good surgeons also publish their results. And our results on PRESBYOND, on LASIK, is also out there. And even the public can see what our results are. We have some of the best results in the world. We do a high volume of surgery. I've been doing refractive surgery from 30 years. I'm treating the second generation now. So yes, you need to look at the technology, but not only the technology, also whether the surgeon is giving you all the options. And as surgeons, we'll have to look at what is best for our patients, what is the safest, what is the most accurate procedure for them, which will give them relief according to their lifestyle. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. We are not here to sell technology, because a lot of surgeons do that. We have the latest technology. We have this and we have that. And no, but that is not how it should be. And then sometimes patients come in and say, oh, I saw this, I saw a podcast on this, or I saw this on YouTube. This is the latest technology which uses AI.
Mhm.
No. Is it a proven technology? Has it been around? What are the results? Some of the new technology, they come and go
Mm.
because they're not here to stay. So how many hundreds or millions of eyes have undergone this procedure?
Yeah. Well, LASIK is about 60 million. Smile now is
12.
coming up to 13 million. So these are very well time-tested procedures, corneal procedures on the outside of the eye. There have been billions of cataract surgeries done, but that's cataract surgery.
Cataract surgery.
And again, we're in an extrapolation where people are saying, well, the safety of cataract surgery is the same as the safety of non-cataract lens exchange. And as we know, the younger the eye, the more chances of complications in lens surgery inside the eye. You mentioned this. We are now, of course, seeing the patients in whom we did LASIK on 20 years ago coming back with reading glasses and wanting PRESBYOND on top of their previous LASIK or their previous Smile. But also, you can have had cataract surgery and still you needed glasses after the cataract surgery. Well, you can have PRESBYOND on top of that to remove the reading glasses. So really, if you go to a surgeon that has PRESBYOND and lens surgery, now you're covering the bases. And when we're talking about PRESBYOND, there's more to it because PRESBYOND is done by LASIK. And there's a certain laser that's used for LASIK, and this is called PRK, the surface procedure. But there's a different laser that is used for the keyhole version of LASIK called SMUN. A surgeon who can offer Smile and PRESBYOND, so those are the two little check boxes, that surgeon has all the equipment to do anything on any eye. And there's a lot of professional arguments about this, which is better done behind screens. But I can defend the position very easily, I'm sure, and I know you can. Those of us who do offer all the options, we have the opportunity to make sure that we're choosing the best option for a patient's eye, even though they do fine with the other option. You'll be fine with a clear lens exchange and a multifocal. But is it the best? No. For you, the best would be PRESBYOND. Do you see? I think it's difficult for patients because they didn't go to medical school.
Yeah. And there's a fear component as well. So I have a good friend who's a photographer, and he needs correction for near vision because his work is one moment he's looking at distance, the next moment he needs to look at something near, and it's an environment where it's rainy, glasses are getting fogged up. So he knows he needs it. But there is this fear.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, here, knowledge dispels fear. So that friend of yours doesn't know what he's talking about. No,
Not yet.
In the nicest possible way. People don't realize, for example, well, people consider contact lenses to be safe, right? Contact lenses are safe? Yeah. Okay. Contact lenses are safe. Yeah. Well, let's go through this. Daily disposable contact lenses are the safest lenses because you just throw them out. You don't sterilize it. If they are worn daily, at the end of 10 years, it's the same risk of having had laser eye surgery. But you poked your eye 600 times in a year. So you poked your eye 6,000 times and taken the same risk. And I don't know about expense, but you've probably spent more. So laser eye surgery is on a par with contact lenses of the safest type. Now, if you talk about extended wear lenses, which are the ones that, you put a little thing and you sterilize them, like the colored lenses that people use, it's 3 years of wear. So somebody who's worn contact lenses from the age of 18 till they're 28, They've taken 3 times the risk of having had their vision corrected and poked their eye 6,000 times. So it's a no-brainer. If you have the knowledge, there's a no-brainer to having laser eye surgery. So your photographer friend, he just needs to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. What would you say to someone?
See, again, you will have to look at the risk-benefit ratio. Now, glasses are a pain for him. It was a pain for me. I had a lot of difficulty with glasses. And once you know the benefit, then you actually know what it is, life without glasses. There's so many of my biker friends who are managing with glasses. They used to get fogged up. They were not able to see their phone in the dark or when it's raining, and they used to miss the roads. A lot of other problems. And once they got the procedure done, they tell me, "Oh, why didn't I get it done before? I would have enjoyed my riding so much more." So it's all about lifestyle and experiences. And this is the best because glasses are crutches, they are eye crutches, and they limit your lifestyle. So there's so many things that I do. I do motorcycling, I do scuba diving, I do sports. Glass hinders all of them, glasses.
Well, so people also think that glasses are risk-free. But actually, they may be risk-free to your eye, well, unless it breaks and, okay. But they're not risk-free. Because if you're a -3 or -4, and that's not a lot of myopia, and you're riding your little scooter in the windy roads in Greece on holiday, and you wipe out,
Yeah.
and you're bleeding, and your phone goes over there, and your glasses go over there, you're going to die.
You can't see anything.
Because you can't find your
You
glasses.
can't find your glasses.
So actually, it's a disability, and the glasses are a prosthetic. And so even glasses are a risk to life. I mean, I guess before glasses were invented, people who were very short-sighted, they just got eaten by a tiger. And they didn't live very long, because they couldn't see things coming.
And nowadays, Dan, with COVID, after COVID, people are wearing masks all the time and the glasses fog up.
True.
So they're not able to see. So either they have to remove the glass or the mask.
Yeah.
So again, it's so difficult. So these are situations where, you're happy to be without your glasses. And small things like this, putting eye makeup, for a presbyopic patient, a patient after 40 years.
Opening the oven and then glasses
Yeah.
fog up.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much value.
Or you're in-
Chopping the onions without chopping your finger.
Yeah.
or you're in the hotel and you're having a shower, and then you
There's
don't
such
know which is the shampoo and the conditioner and the body wash because you can't read that when you're in the shower.
Yeah.
You can't reach out for your glasses. These are simple things that happen on a daily basis
Yeah.
where, you find the need that you need to have these glasses all the time and you can't do without that.
It's definitely, I would say that the most common thing that someone says when they walk in the next morning, and there's other things that they'll say, but the most common thing is, "I wish I'd done it sooner." And, if you sit down and analyze that phrase, "I wish I'd done it sooner," meaning I was wrong for not doing it sooner, meaning I thought things about this that turned out to be incorrect, so I didn't do it sooner. So again, it's back to knowledge dispels fear. Fear, anxiety just paralyzes your ability to think. Information reduces anxiety. Now, no one undergoes the surgery without feeling anxious. Yeah, I felt a little anxious. You didn't feel anxious because I was operating on you, but you have this little, little like, whoa, wait a minute, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we know that even if something isn't routine, it's probably fixable with laser eye surgery on the outside of the eye. There's very few complications now that can't be fixed. Again, going back to the way that often surgeons will equate the safety of lens surgery with LASIK incorrectly. If you have a complication inside the eye, that actually is potentially sight-threatening and not reversible. It's not true of the cornea. The cornea is virtually always repairable. I mean, there's so few things that are not repairable from laser eye surgery now compared to 30 years ago. So fear of laser eye surgery is really, it's a cultural problem right now. We have, bad news on the internet conglomerates and amplifies, right? And so if everybody who had had laser eye surgery went online and said, this is the most incredible thing on the planet, then you'd be impossible to find the people who are going saying this ruined my life. On the contrary, if people who had their vision seriously damaged by a contact lens infection went online, excuse me,
You'd have so much.
I mean, you go to an eye department, a third of the patients sitting there have red eye relating to their contact lens.
I mean, we all see it every day.
Today, the patient I did smile on had a corneal scar because of contact lens infection. He was wearing contact lens. He had a infection, then the infection healed. He didn't want to wear contact lenses because he went through all that, and then he went and he came in and went smile, and that was the first patient that I did.
Yeah.
So there's so many patients like that. The risk of developing infection with contact lenses, especially extended wear contact lenses, is about 26%, which is quite high because people don't maintain them well. It needs a lot of discipline in maintaining and cleaning your contact lenses. If you're a little careless, if you sleep with your contact lenses, you shower with contact lenses, swim with contact lenses, there's a very high percentage of risk of infection which can happen, which can be sight-threatening.
Yeah. And the people who talk about it saying that they've had a bad experience with LASIK, they're the only ones who talk about it, right? Someone who's had a great experience, like you said, they hardly put it out there. So it's amplified, and you need to look at the other side of it. On the other hand, someone who's had a contact lens infection is not going to go online and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, somehow that's, contact lenses are not, they're not surgical procedures, but people don't realize that they are medical devices. And they've been around for so much longer that they're also a little bit more in the background. There are so many people who have suffered from laser eye surgery complications that can be fixed, but think that it can't. And so that's another step in the clink in the armor, because if the surgeon doesn't have the technology to repair cases, I'll say this, we're in India here, the US has more primitive repair tools than anywhere else in the world. And, someone having a complication from LASIK at Nethradhama is going to get fixed. Same complication in Beverly Hills can't get fixed. Got to drive down to Mexico because that's where they have the technology. So a lot of the noise that we hear about how dangerous LASIK is and how it should be canceled and no one should do it, it comes from the States. And I'm American, so I can say this. It's not that my colleagues in the States aren't able to fix it. It's that the regulatory system has not been intelligent enough to be able to provide the tools. We have some of the greatest surgeons in the world in the States. They just don't have the tools. So, I hope that, the government can block this from going into the U.S. because I actually want to travel to the U.S. And I know that they're checking phones now with whatever you say. But I mean, the fact is the U.S. is behind. And most of the internet bad news comes from there.
Yeah.
So just to put it into perspective, into real perspective, in an expert's hands with modern equipment, the probability of damaging the vision by LASIK. And what I mean by that is a little bit of blurring, not correctable by glasses, not blindness. I'm talking about you can't see anything. Then you can see almost everything, but it's a little bit blurred. The probability that that blur cannot be corrected by glasses, the probability of that happening is less than 1 in 1,000. So, and that's a little bit of blur, okay? So that's how safe this is.
Yeah.
And so, technically speaking, you wear your glasses until you're a responsible teenager, you're 11, 12. You can get into your contact lenses, but you wear daily disposables and you're responsible. You get to 18, you must, on your 18th birthday, go and check if you're a candidate. Brings us to another myth, which is, your eyes have to be stable. No. That's a complete misunderstanding from the way that lasers were approved 30 years ago. And I can go into it, but trust me, it's a misunderstanding. The fact is that the way that the optics are changed by LASIK actually slow down the progression of myopia, which has other benefits to the eye health in that if someone's a -5 and they were going to be a -8, but they have -5 LASIK when they're 18, and they only end up -6, like one more minus, and they have an enhancement for that one more minus, their eye is less long. And that eye that's less long stretches the retina less chance of retinal detachment, holes, and other problems. So there's an argument to say that it's glasses until you're 12, contact lenses until you're 18, then LASIK or SMILE, then PRESBYOND in your 40s, then a cataract surgery if you get a cataract in your 70s or whatever.
With a monofocal high-quality lens.
Monofocal high quality. I mean, that's vision correction.
Lifetime vision correction. So let's get into the financials of it a little bit. That's something that people think about a lot. It's an expensive procedure. Is it really worth it? Everything we've spoken about till now tells us that there's a lot of functionality, a lot of value, and a lifestyle upgrade, essentially. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, if you look at the cost of glasses, a person wearing progressive glasses for presbyopia. So if you look at the cost of glasses, average cost of a progressive glass, a good lens, would be about 30 to 35,000 rupees. And then a good frame would be another 10, 15,000. So on an average, it would cost you about 50,000 for a pair of glasses. And you need to change the glasses at least once in 2 years, if not every year, because the glasses get scratched.
And the sunglasses.
And the sunglasses you need. That's extra. And if you have different pairs of sunglasses and the spare, because you need one in your office, one in your car, one in your house. So at least most of the presbyopic patients have 3 or 4 pairs of glasses. So that is expensive. And the glasses can get scratched, they can get lost, misplaced. So you have replacements. So if you look at the cost, then the cost of laser surgery is you can recover that in a couple of years. And the freedom of being without glasses, the functionality, the lifestyle, again, there is no cost that you can put to that because you start enjoying life much more. There's so many more things that you can do. And you view life in a whole different perspective without glasses. So that's something that you can't put a value to. But even if you look at the monetary aspect, wearing progressive glasses is much more expensive. And if you look at a 10-year period, then wearing glasses is like 4 or 5 times the cost of getting a PRESBYOND laser correction done.
So basically what you're saying is the cost of PRESBYOND is priceless.
Yes.
That's a great way of putting it. So how many people are eligible for PRESBYOND?
You could, for all intents and purposes, say everyone. You could actually say that because you're only going to be wrong in 3 to 5% of patients. So anybody who started to need reading glasses or bifocals. They walk into a clinic that does Presbyon. There's a simple test that's done. It takes a few minutes. It determines whether they're a candidate, and if they and in our clinic we did a study that showed that 97% of people were eligible for surgery. So it's pretty much everyone. And then there's the myth about, well, I have dry eye. Well, you can't have LASIK when you're older because you get dry eye. Again, these are myths. Most of that dry eye is not actually dry eye. It's meibomian gland dysfunction, which is it's to do with the balance of the components of the tear film, and it's eminently manageable, and people have it anyway, whether they have laser eye surgery or not. And there's no upper limit, right? The upper limit to Presbyon is cataract. That's not an age, right? My own father, he was one of my earliest Presbyon patients. He was 74. And he was long-sighted. He needed glasses for everything with astigmatism. And he was spectacle-free. Well, I did his surgery when he was 74, did a little adjustment in one eye when he was 79. And then when he was 86, we did one cataract. And he died at 89. So we kept him spectacle-free throughout his life after he took the plunge.
So 74-year-old can still get Presbyon done if they have clear lenses.
Well, yeah, if there's no cataract, then why take the lens out? Why punish the lens when, I don't know, something like that.
What about Presbyon after cataract surgery? Is that something that you would suggest for your patients? How do they go about that?
Presbyon after cataract surgery, if a patient has had monofocal lenses and they're wearing reading glasses and they would like to see without glasses, then we can do Presbyon even post-cataract surgery.
And usually their distance will be better as well.
Yes, because you're going to correct them both for distance and for near.
Yeah.
So the patient satisfaction is quite good.
Actually, I had a professor from Thailand who came to our course in London. The guy was in his 70s. He'd had cataract surgery 15 years before, and he had the glasses hanging off his neck, and took the course. And at the end said, "If I stay here another week, could you do the Presbyon on me?" He was 74, and he, as far as that was about 5 years ago, he's been spectacle free. So ageism is out, right? You're not allowed to say, not to discriminate against age. So Presbyon does not discriminate against age.
That's amazing. So someone who's watching this right now, if they've undergone cataract surgery with monofocal lenses, they can come in for an evaluation, get Presbyon, and get rid of their reading glasses.
That's right. That's right.
That's amazing.
And someone who's had Presbyon can have lens surgery.
Yeah.
It's all doable. The question is, are we going to pick the lowest risk, highest accuracy, best quality of vision procedure at what stage? And if your vision's down through a dirty window, well, you got to take the dirty window out. But there are a lot of people who get told they have the beginnings of cataract, and that's an excuse to take the lens out. It's like you can't be a little bit pregnant. Yeah. There are objective ways of measuring cataract. I know you have the technology, we do. It's not a look in the microscope and say, oh, that's a bit of cataract. It's an objective test.
You get a score.
It's a machine. You can look at the number. And if the number is here, it's a cataract. And the number's not there, it's not a cataract. So there are ways of testing that without any opinion being born.
Yeah. What excites you most about Presbyon? Do you think it could become as routine as cataract surgery someday?
Yeah, if patients' awareness is there, then I think most people over 40 years who are wearing glasses.
Cataract surgery is the most common surgical procedure performed in the world. When you look at the latest data on visual impairment, And this was a 48-page review article that was published in The Lancet. So this is very authoritative. 30% of visual impairment in the world is due to cataract. 48% is due to refractive error. People who cannot afford glasses or don't have glasses. And so actually, vision correction is a bigger problem than cataract surgery by the numbers. And here's the interesting thing. If you do an economic consideration, cataract is in the older age group. Possibly, let's say, the age group that is starting to retire or not be working. Whereas refractive error is in the working age groups. So in terms of developing countries, developing their economies, actually vision correction has much more return on the investment, if you like. So rather than having the little granny have the free cataract surgery so she can watch her grandchild starve to death because her son can't work because he's -4 and he doesn't have glasses, how about correct the -4 in the son so he can go to work, so he can pay for his mother's cataract surgery and feed the economy, so she can look after her grandchild while her son's at work. I mean, do you understand? It's a reversal of the concept that cataract is the most important thing we need to do. Of course, it's important, and we can't stop what we're doing there. But we need to consider that refractive error is actually the powerhouse of economic growth for developing countries. Now, let's talk about presbyopia, aging eyes, reading vision. 100% of human beings get presbyopia if they live longer than their 40s. Now, excluding China, where 90% of people are short-sighted. Okay, forget that. That's everyone. Most other countries in the world, only 30% of people need glasses for distance. So that is a fraction of the number of people who are going to need reading glasses, which is 100%.
Yeah.
And so PRESBYOND is technically, currently, the best way of addressing this major problem. And it's, like I said earlier, practically anybody is a candidate for it. And it works for long-sighted and short-sighted and astigmatism and people who don't have any correction at distance. So it really has the potential of becoming the predominant procedure on the planet. Now, what are the things holding it back? Well, there's misinformation. Patients are not aware that this is possible to be done. PRESBYOND is only on one platform. It's only on the Carl Zeiss platform. Carl Zeiss is the company that commercialized the original equations that we developed at London Vision Clinic 20 years ago. And while some of the other companies are trying to do their own solutions, none of them are anywhere close yet to what PRESBYOND can do. But the main problem is awareness, because the surgeons are going to be very happy to do the procedure because it's very easy. It's just LASIK. And the patients need to know to ask for it. And I think that the uptake of clear lens exchange with multifocals is small, not because people don't know about it, because any surgeon who graduates from an eye surgery program can do cataract surgery. So everyone knows about that. There's no eye surgeon who doesn't know about that. But I think people are much more cautious about having a surgery inside their eye. So the uptake is much smaller, right? And so we're offering here a procedure that is based on LASIK, 60 million eyes already done, super safe, super accurate. Practically everyone's a candidate. And, the quality of vision that I enjoy as an eye surgeon, you enjoy, we're doing microsurgery. Pilots on airplanes operating in, sometimes horrendous visual conditions and, being helped by this technology. We're there. We are there. The question now is, can it become widespread in the knowledge of the public to know to ask for it?
Yeah, you always say PRESBYOND, it's easier done than said, right?
Easier.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the tagline. It's easier done than said.
It's very good.
In fact, we have screening programs for truck drivers through our NGO, Shraddha Eye Care Trust, and about 25-30% of them have refractive errors. And they're not supposed to be driving because they're not only a danger to themselves but also others on the road. And we do screening tests and prescribe glasses, but they're so used to not wearing the glasses that they're still driving without glasses. So how do you fix this? It's only by refractive surgery, by laser vision correction. And this is something that can be done, and it improves the safety of the general public. It makes roads safer. And for them, of course, they're able to see well and drive well. So this is something that needs to be, I think it's a public health concern, refractive errors, and people who are doing jobs. For example, if you want to join the army or the Air Force, then you can't do that with glasses. You have to have a correction plan. Firefighters,
police, anybody with a firearm, I hope, could see well.
So let's bust some myths. There is so much misinformation online. There's people talking about a lot of things, and we want to hear from the experts. Right? So, is this procedure painful?
Here's the problem. The dentists, they say it's not going to hurt, and then it hurts. That's the problem. Laser eye surgery doesn't hurt. Okay, we say it doesn't hurt, and it doesn't hurt. Thanks a lot, dentists. Thanks for doing. Thanks a lot. So of course it doesn't hurt. The eye is anesthetized just with a drop.
Yeah.
And it's actually the same anesthetic that you can do a whole cataract surgery with, but we're just doing it on the surface of the cornea. So it doesn't hurt. But here's what's interesting. We did a survey on this, and we found that with PRESBYOND, if you did PRESBYOND on someone who was married, 100% within time, the partner, the husband, the wife comes in.
I've also
100%.
noticed that. Normally the next week. The next week they're there. They come with their partner for a checkup and they want to get it done.
Wow.
Because you
Wow.
can't live with someone who says, it didn't hurt, I could see straight away, it was amazing. You can't, no matter how scared you are, you can't live with someone who keeps on telling you that.
Yeah.
Read your own menu. Okay, right, okay.
Why are you searching for your glasses?
That's right. But here's the funny thing. So we looked at this, and it turns out that 19 out of 20 times, the woman had gone first.
Wow, that's interesting.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how to interpret that. You're going to interpret it with two different ways, but
You're an Englishman, so it's always ladies first.
Oh, ladies first. So I was like, let me know how it goes. No, but here's the funny thing that we also learned is that when you are out there and you've had your laser eye surgery and someone asks you about it, if it's a man asking you, the first question they'll ask is, did it hurt? If it's a woman asking you, the first question they ask is, did it work? Interesting.
Maybe women have higher pain tolerance.
There's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that. There's another myth about laser weakening your eyes over time, or how long do the results last?
Generally, the laser correction is almost permanent because I've been doing laser correction for now over 25 years. And I have my patients over 20 years who have had the corrections come in and then they're still doing fine. I've treated my brother-in-law, my sister, they are fine still without glasses. And I've had my PRESBYOND 10 years ago. See, we need to do some tests. There are some patients who are not suitable for laser correction because they have abnormal corneas. And such cases, if they're taken up and treated, then you can have problems. It can weaken the cornea. But if it's a normal cornea, then it's very safe. It does not weaken the eye, and you don't have any restrictions regarding your sports activities or swimming or gymming or anything of that kind.
Would you consider laser procedures cosmetic?
No. Not at all. I
Because
mean,
people
the
think
number of
LASIK
people.
is a cosmetic
Yeah. Well,
procedure.
no, hold on. Sometimes people use the word cosmetic surgery interchangeably with elective surgery.
Mm,
Now, laser eye surgery is elective surgery, but it's not cosmetic surgery. I mean, well, if someone doesn't like the way they look in glasses, or they want to get married without glasses, okay, that's cosmetic. But I'd say that 99.9% of patients who have laser eye surgery, it's because they don't want to be disabled. They don't want to have a prosthetic in order to see. And by the way, there are patients, they're not many, but there are patients who you will correct their vision. They see perfectly. And because they have lived in these spectacles their whole life, they cannot see themselves any way different. So they have the glazing changed to no power, and they
yeah.
still wear the frames
But
because it's their image.
they're still not dependent. So it gives them so much more function. So
It-
calling it a
it's functional
cosmetic,
surgery,
it's functional surgery.
not cosmetic.
Absolutely. There's another myth, and this is widespread, that you cannot get LASIK after the age of 40.
Yes, this is something you go to any ophthalmologist, you tell them I want LASIK after 40. They go, no, LASIK does not work after 40. But that again is not true because you have Presbyon, which can correct both distance and near. Because most of the ophthalmologists and the optometrists, they say laser vision correction is only for myopia. You can only correct short sight if you're wearing glasses for distance. And after 40, when you have reading glasses or nearsightedness, then you have to go in for progressive glasses. LASIK does not work. Or even if you get LASIK done, you again have to wear reading glasses. But that is totally untrue because with Presbyon, you can have a good correction for both distance and near and see well at all distances without glasses.
Yeah. Look, we developed PRESBYOND 2004 is when we really started doing it. It was programmed by Zeiss 2009 into their laser. We've treated in our clinic at London Vision Clinic, we've treated 13,000 patients with PRESBYOND. Now, if LASIK caused permanent dry eye in people over the age of 40, then our clinic would be only a dry eye clinic by now. We would only be looking after patients with dry eye because 13,000 patients, we only do 20,000 visits a year. So there would be no room to do anything else. A. B, there's the other possibility, which would be that I would be in prison. Because if I'd done harm to so many people, so the fact is I'm still free and roaming, and no, it's a myth. It's a myth.
It's a myth. Can you tell us about life after PRESBYOND? Both of you have had the benefit of undergoing PRESBYOND a long time back. We see the long-term outcomes now live in front of us. Can you tell us about life after PRESBYOND?
I went first. So I had my
He went
surgery
first.
done. In 2015, I had my Presbyon procedure done. And there's a video on YouTube where they've recorded the whole procedure. And you can see that as soon as I get up from the table, that Dan hands me this eye drops bottle with, very small print. And I'm able to see that. And that was life changing.
Yeah.
I could never read that without my glasses. And then it was, and the very next day I was doing surgery. 1 week later, I was driving on the Autobahns in Germany when I had gone for a consultancy visit to Zeiss. So it completely changed my life. And I'm able to see very well, both for distance and near. And 10 years, there's been no change. I'm still glass free. And I do microsurgery every day, 25, 30 surgeries. And my vision is as sharp as ever. And I'm so comfortable. No dry eye, and my quality of vision is excellent. I drive at night and I ride motorcycles at night in fog, in rain, and it's amazing.
Yeah, likewise. My story was, the Maya's deteriorated very slowly, so I didn't actually realize it until I was, on a holiday and I couldn't see what the kids could see. It was a safari. They could see the leopard on the tree, and I couldn't see the leopard in the tree. I mean, I could see well enough, but it wasn't enough at that distance. And I went back to London. I immediately told my partner Glenn about let's do it. Yours is on YouTube. Mine's on YouTube. Mine was televised on the BBC at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. So it was, prime time,
Big deal.
and it really was, the doctor takes his own medicine, right? And that's the message, right? The message is, we're going around these conferences together, and I see you more than I see my best friend who lives in London. It's always in a different city in the world, but and we're going around these conferences, and a lot of our colleagues wearing glasses, and we're going around going, "Why are you wearing glasses?" "Oh, well, I'm going to wait for a cataract." It's like, well, yeah, exactly. So for us, there's a sort of there's a sort of a bit of a show off element to being able to walk around, seeing the slides from the end of the auditorium, being able to read tiny print in the dark, as if we were under the age of 40.
And almost everyone can have that.
Almost anybody. Yeah.
What is your vision for presbyopia correction in India for the future?
I think the awareness has to increase. I think once people know that there is a procedure that can correct the distance and near vision after 40, I think there are a lot of people who will opt for it, because at 40, most of them are the breadwinners and they need good vision. And once they undergo this procedure, then their productivity increases and their lifestyle improves. There's so many hobbies that they can pursue. So this is actually a very big thing, and we're just at the tip of the iceberg. And I think once patients know about it, a lot of them would kind of opt to get it done and would be very happy with the procedure. Like so many of my patients now, I've been doing Presbyon for 12 years and have so many happy patients. Patients have brought their spouses, their friends to get it done. So I think Presbyon is growing in India. A lot more surgeons have started doing this procedure, and they believe in it. And we have courses which actually help train these surgeons, give them the knowledge and the technology to perform this. So I think, yes, it is on a growth path, and I think the number of procedures are going to increase. The number of patients who can get rid of their glasses after 40 is on the rise.
That's amazing. From the Indian perspective, do you feel like Presbyon has the potential to become as mainstream as cataract surgery?
India has the largest cataract blind in the world. So that may be difficult. But I think there is a potential for Presbyon to become very popular, because presbyopia is a universal problem. I mean, most people over the 40 would require reading glasses. And this procedure has the potential to treat millions of people and help them get rid of glasses.
What do your patients celebrate most after getting Presbyon done?
Youthfulness. Everyone talks about how they feel 10 or 20 years younger, because the need for reading glasses is a hard stop on youth. You can't see up close anymore. It's really one of the first parts of the body that fails us as we age. And so, and I think that's why. I mean, people coming and say, honestly, I feel like you've turned the clock back 20 years. I feel completely youthful. Yeah.
That's something so beautiful to give to your patient, to be able to give your patient. So I think we've discussed how Presbyon is all about confidence and about an upgrade in your lifestyle. So thank you so much, Professor Dan and Professor Ganesh, for joining me today. This has been so informative and much needed for the awareness for vision correction after 40. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.